Hello and welcome to Islamic Finance Weekly. I am Rahma Say Muhammad. Well, as we already told you, our focus for this month is fintech. So today we're at the Nigeria Fintech Week Day One, engaging stakeholders, industry leaders, and the public on Islamic finance and fintech in general, and how this too can synergize. Well, I would say stay with us.
No, no, I'm not.
Yes, I am. Okay, so Islamic finance is basically where there is some component of Islamic rules when it comes to financial services. For instance, the prohibition of interest when they give out loans.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm aware actually. Give out non-interest loans, right? And when they give out loans, you have to direct it into something that is more in that line, right? You can't go outside, what you have been given the loan to do.
Yes, I'm aware of Islamic finance. So I've had a client that was into Islamic finance. So we're trying to actually implement Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, a financial management tool for them. Although the deal didn't go through, but I'm aware of Islamic finance.
I know about Islamic laws on finance. I know about Islamic law, but I don't really know about the Islamic finance in deep. But I'm aware about Islamic regulations on finance.
Oh yeah, I'm aware of Islamic finance.
I'm not aware of any.
Yes, I am aware.
Not exactly. Not exactly. Yeah, well, we'd love to know more about it if it's something that would expand knowledge on that so many people to be able to evolve in the innovation and all of that is happening in Nigeria. Yeah, sure.
Actually, I have a slight idea about it.
Definitely, yes, yes. I'm actually excited because technology is being infused into financial services these days, and then it makes Islamic finance more accessible.
Islamic Fintech, I think they should be the same thing. So I don't know. So maybe if there's a difference, you can let me know.
Yeah, not exactly, but I guess fintech with touch of Islam.
Are you aware of Islamic finance, or do you operate on non-interest finance basis?
Okay, I know about Islamic finance and banking, and I research about it. But as a business, we are not a bank, so we do not hold money, and so therefore those compliance don't apply to us. However, I have a technology solution that if you have a license, right, you will be compliant on that platform when you configure it to do so.
Could you run us down how you're able to operate and, on financial basis, obviously, how you're able to probably integrate Sharia compliance into your businesses, into your fintech business?
Okay, so for starters, we are system integrators, so we don't necessarily do fintech products. But what we do is that we ensure that companies comply with regulation. One of the things that I think where we work very strongly with Dion is identity assurance. So we ensure that anybody that comes to your platform is actually who they say they are. In today's world where there's a lot of identity theft, there's a lot of financial fraud, we ensure that people, regardless of technology, regardless of users, are able to ensure and manage fraud situations. I mean, I think that helps the sector very, very aggressively.
So most systems will discriminate even against skin tone, right? Maybe with preference to a white skinned person than a black skinned person. But our system is totally agnostic, right? Regardless of your skin tone, regardless of your head covering, or if for a guy, if you have beards, we use our algorithm uses almost 160 endpoints, right? Facial endpoints to determine the identity of the user, right? So even when you are covered to a large extent, you can still pick out some points to recognize that individual, right? Even when you go old, right, and you have beards, right, you can still pick up facial features, other facial features to recognize the identity of that user, right? And I mean, we are a global company. We face regulations, not only regulation, customs, across the globe, and we work with our local partners to scale those regulation and challenges, basically.
How do you think fintech can adopt the ethical investment for formats? Like how can they adopt the non-interest formats even in the fintech world, not just in the banking sector?
Okay. Ethical growth in fintech is an important key thing that I think should happen. If you see what is happening in Africa today, there is that problem of expensive funding. A lot of companies are trying to grow, but when they get the fund, the interest rate is very high. And so I think fintech, in collaboration with banks, should be able to offer interest-free loans to support and enable startups to be able to grow in their various businesses.
Coming from a legal perspective, how would you say the implementation of Sharia compliance or ethical compliance is in the financial space?
Well, essentially, I think Islamic finance has come to stay. You've seen uh, companies raise sukuk. You've seen companies raise Islamic-based financing. And again, you've seen a whole lot of evolution of non-interest banks. You see, I don't want to mention anything, like I don't want to look as if I'm trying to advertise them, but yeah. But there are non-interest financial institutions in Nigeria at the moment, and that tells you that that tells you that Islamic finance is taking shape in Nigeria. And again, if there is no regulatory framework, you wouldn't be able to see all these financial instruments and financial institutions sprouting out in Nigeria. It shows that if there are, sukuk transactions that have been consummated in billions of naira, that means that there are strong regulatory framework governing the execution of those transactions.
What's the journey thus far? Are you saying Islamic fintech thriving in the fintech world?
It's very important for us to know that the Islamic finance is actually growing a very fast rate now. 2-3 years ago, it was around like $3 trillion in the capital market, but today we've grown to more than $4 trillion globally. And got so good, in the Nigerian space, a lot of Islamic finance fintech is already coming out, and which shows that there's a level of acceptability in the market right now, and people are tending to understand more what Islamic finance is. So I personally, my experience today, I've spoken to quite a number of people, and I can see before I say a lot, people already grasp the idea of what Islamic finance is. And so it shows a kind of a commendation for we players in the market, and also an encouragement for other startup founders to think about, especially the Muslims, to think of how can they be of impact to the Muslim Ummah, and not just the Muslim Ummah alone, and how can it benefit the humanity. And I can tell you for fact today that most of us that are driving the Islamic finance products, we know that a very high percent of non-Muslims are also participating in this sector. And we've been seeing organizations coming to say, okay, they want to set up an Islamic fund and or Islamic cooperative to guide them, to give them advisory on all of that.
I mean, those were interesting conversations we've had with tech savvy individuals, stakeholders, and industry leaders on fintech, and Islamic finance. And then people will say fintech, Islamic, join the two together, and then you have it, Islamic fintech. These are very interesting conversations, I must say. And with that, I say, don't forget to keep it today to Sasna Speak on the program. Follow us on all of our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching, and I am Rahma Say Muhammad.